Hi everyone, today we will study the subject biology, and the unit that we will study today is organization of life. So in this unit we will see many different types of specialized cells. So which specialized cells are we going to see today in this video? So we will see ciliated cells, root hair cells, xylem cells, palisade cells, nerve cells, blood cells, sperm cells and egg cells. So these are the different types of specialized cells that we are going to see in this video. So excited to see or study them? Yes? Let's start. So let's first see that what is specialization of cells, right? So we can see that most cells after finished dividing and growing become specialized. We already know the sequence of how our body is made, right? So our body is made that there are different types of cells. These cells unite together to form tissue. These tissues come together to form organs. These organs come together to form organ systems. And as a whole, they form a whole body. So after dividing, now the one thing that you should know or you should remember is that each cell is arising from stem cell in our human body, right? I'm just talking about human body. So there is one particular organization of cells. So after finish dividing, once this is my cell, right? This cell will finish dividing. Now I have two cells from my old or parent one cell. After dividing, these cells will grow and they will become specialized. That means they will have some special function or they may have special structure and function both, right? So these specialized cells have following characters. So we just saw that there are some cells which will, after growing and dividing, they will continuously or they will form a particular specialized structure. So these specialized cells have following characteristics. Which characteristics? So first they have to do one specific job. That means if I talk about nephron cells in humans, right? So they have particular function of urine formation. So this is their particular specialized function. If I talk about xylem cells in plants, so they have a particular function of transporting water from roots to the above parts of the plant. So these specialized cells have specific job. Next, they develop a distinct shape. That means if I talk about xylem, right, they form a vessel type of shape. So this is how these specialized cells have special kind of shapes. We will see how many different types of shapes are there. If I talk about RBC, that is red blood cell, so they have biconcave shape. So there are different types of shapes which are seen for each of these specialized cells. And there are some special kind of chemical changes that takes place in their cytoplasm. That means that if a particular cell is a specialized cell, then it will have some particular chemicals which will be present or absent in their cells, and this is how specialized cells are made. So now let's see them. First, they are ciliated cells. As you can see, these are cilia, right? And they are cells, this is mucus, and these are the nucleus of this ciliated cells. So these cells are present in the mucus movement, or they provide the mucus movement in the organism's body. So they are found in respiratory linings. That means you can see these tissues or these kind of cells in our nose. If I talk about human nose, then you can see these types of cells. These are the nose hairs. Just compare it with that. We have nose hairs and this is the mucus that is around our nose hairs. So they are found in the respiratory linings. They are hair-like, it has hair-like extensions called cilia, right? These are the hair-like structures. So the hair that we have in our nose, they are called as cilia. And what does it do? So it pushes the mucus or viscous fluid which traps bacteria or dust upwards. That means that if there is something inside our nose, let's just take example of our nose. So if there is some bacteria or virus in our nose, so this cilia will, or it has the mucus here. So this mucus will push these things on the upward direction. So this is how they are responsible for mucus movement. So these are the ciliated cells. Next cells are root hair cells, and their function is absorption, right? So what are root hair cells? So we can say that they are cellular extensions on plant roots. So let's just take the example. This is plant root. So they are the cellular extensions or hair-like structures on the root of the plant roots. Right? So this is my plant root, and at the tip of the plant, right? Plant root. They maximize the surface area for nutrient absorption. So because of these presence of hair, you can see a large surface area is provided. So due to this, nutrients can be absorbed in a higher way or in a faster way. And we already know that they absorb it by the means of active transport. Okay. Then this is the figure of how root hair cells functions. So we can say that this is the plant, this are the roots of a plant, and these are the root hairs. Right? Now let's just zoom in. They look like this. The water will enter like this. These are the root hair. They have very large surface area. So the water will enter into this surface area, and this is the root hair cell. And these are the soil particles. So this is our root, these are the soil particles, and these are the root hairs. So this is how the root hairs look in our soil, or this is how they help in the absorption of nutrients and water, right? Because they have very large surface area, and due to this the water will enter into it. Next are xylem vessels, and their function is they help in conduction and support. Now first, what are xylem vessels? So we can say they are long, thin-walled cells arranged end to end. That means these are my xylem cells. They are long, thin-walled cells, and they are arranged end to end. They are arranged something like this. Their wall is very thin. There is no kind of, what we call it as a layering of different substances. We see that in some cells there is a layering of pectin, cellulose, and then lignin and many different compounds. But in xylem vessels or in xylem, there is no this kind of particular lining. They have the thin walled cells. There is no thickening of the wall. Then end of the cell walls and also cell contents disappear over time and produces long hollow vessel. So what will exactly happen? That if this is my xylem cells, right? Let's just draw them again. Thin walled cells, right, which are arranged end to end. Now after some time, once they are transporting the water in this way, after some time their water and other contents will disappear and they will form a continuous long hollow vessel, right? So their cell walls, these walls that were separating each other, and their cell contents that was inside the cell, their cell structures, their nutrients, the water that they were transporting, everything disappears and they form a long hollow vessel. So this is how they help in conduction and support. The next is that no cell content to prevent disruption of the transport. So we can say that there are the cell contents of these xylem vessels, they do not prevent disruption of the transport, right? And there are no cell contents present here. So if this is my xylem, so there are no contents which are present here that will prevent our disruption of transport. Then what do it do? So it transport waters and mineral ions from roots to the leaves. Why? Because roots are here in the plant and leaves are here in the plant. Now water is available in soil. So roots are in direct contact with soil. So they will absorb the water and they will transport it to the leaves. And this is how the water from the soil will reach to the leaves. So by the means of xylem vessels, the water is transported to leaves. And lignified walls for stem support. So in particular, if we talk about stem, so they have the lignified, that means lignin component is present in their cell walls. So when lignin is present, it gives support. Why? Because it gives rigidity. So in stem cells, our xylem cells or xylem vessels have thickening of lignin. So because of these, they are rigid cells, so they provide the support to our stem. So this is how xylem vessels helps in conduction of water and minerals, and they help in mechanical support. The support is in the form of mechanical support. Okay. Now let's see how does it look. So these are xylem vessels. You can see that in stem there is a thickening of lignin here. And this is the xylem vessel. How does it go? So thick walls are sterified with lignin. We know that there is sterification of lignin. This is from root, right? Let's just say that the water is transported from soil to root, and from root it is transporting here. So there are no end walls between cells. This is after the modification. Once they are completely made, these cell walls we just saw, that cell walls will disappear. So after this, a continuous hollow tube is made. And in this tube, the water and minerals are transporting in the upward direction. You have to always remember that in xylem, the molecules, which molecules? So H2O and minerals will always travel in upwards direction, no downwards direction, and there is one way direction only. So this is how xylem vessel looks, and this is how it transports the water and mineral molecules. Then we have palisade mesophilic tissues. So what do? They help in the process of photosynthesis. So they are present close to the surface to receive maximum sunlight. Okay, now let's tell me, or just tell me, that what is important or what is required for photosynthesis. So for photosynthesis, few things are required. First, that is light. Second, H2O and carbon dioxide. So these things are required for photosynthesis. Now, there must be something that would trap the sunlight in the leaf cell, because we know that chlorophyll is present in the leaf cell which will trap the light. So these cells are present close to the surface to receive maximum sunlight. They have lots of chloroplasts. We already saw that chloroplasts absorb the light, that is sunlight specifically. Right, so they have lots of chloroplasts. So all the chloroplasts will absorb the sunlight, and due to this they will help in the process of photosynthesis. And we can say that they have large vacuole which pushes chloroplast to the edge of the cell so that they can receive maximum light. It may look like this, that if this is our plant cell, so they have very big vacuole. Because of presence of these vacuole, in this vacuole there must be some salts and sugars, right? So because of this, the chloroplasts are pushed to the outer part of the cell, and due to this they receive maximum sunlight, and because of this they help in the process of photosynthesis, and the rate of photosynthesis increases as the light trapping will increase. So this is how these palisade mesophilic cells helps in the process of photosynthesis. Then now let's see that how leaf cross section shows palisade mesophilic layer. So this is how it looks. This is epidermis tissue, this is leaf. We have just zoomed in. These are the palisade mesophilic tissues. Below that, spongy mesophilic tissues are there, and then there is epidermis tissue. So due to this, there are many chloroplasts here, so which will absorb most of the light. Then let's see what are the nerve cells, and their function is they conduct the impulses. So nerve cells are long cells, we already know it, even we will see how long they are in the next figure. Then we can say they are also called as neurons, and we can say that they are highly specialized cells to transmit messages from one part of your body to another. They transmit by the chemical transmitter, that is acetylcholine in our body. So that is neurotransmitter, and these transmitter are called as neurotransmitter. and these messages are in the form of electric and chemical signals. So this is how nerve cells helps in the conduction of impulses. And they have a layer of insulation to speed up the impulse transmission. This insulation helps that no signal, that is the message, electric or chemical, that is not lost from the nerve cell. So this insulation helps in the speeding up of impulse transmission. A nerve cell looks like this. You can see that there are different parts of the nerve cell. This is dendrite, this is axon terminal, right? So the signal will be achieved or received by here. It will pass on to our cell and then it will leave the cell from this side and it will pass on to the next cell, and the next cell's dendrite will accept this message. So these are the parts of nerve cell. Dendrite, then comes cell body, this is nucleus of nerve cell, then there is mycelium, this is insulation, this is Schwann wall, this is node of Renvier, and these are the axon terminals from which the message will be transmitted to the next cell. So this is how nerve cells looks. Next are red blood cells, and their function is the help in oxygen transport. So what are red blood cells? So we can say they are circular, biconcave in shape, and this biconcave shape helps in maximizing the surface area for oxygen transport. Now when hemoglobin, you know that in red blood cells Hb or hemoglobin is present, which binds with the oxygen and it forms the oxyhemoglobin, right? Oxyhemoglobin. They contain hemoglobin which binds to the oxygen. We just see that if we want to write, we can say that oxyhemoglobin. And when we talk about RBCs, they are also called as RBCs. So these RBCs do not have a nucleus. We have to remember this. As they don't have any nucleus, we cannot synthesize them in laboratory, because we can only synthesize those things which have nucleus. As these cells lack nucleus, they are not synthesized in laboratory. Why they don't have nucleus? So in order to maximize the space for hemoglobin which can carry more oxygen. So imagine that this is red blood cell and this is nucleus. So it will take some space in the cell. But if this is the RBC and there is no nucleus, so whole space is available for Hb to be present here, and more Hb will be, or hemoglobin will be there, more oxygen will bind with it and it will provide more energy to the organism's body. So the reason why they don't have nucleus in their cell is to maximize the space for hemoglobin. So this can be asked in exam. Now let's see how they look. So we can say that this is the hemoglobin, right? As you can see. From top view, it looks like this, biconcave shape, and in cross section, we can say they are in biconcave shape, and this is the hemoglobin which is present inside our red blood cells. Then we have sperm cells. So what are sperm cells? So they are male sex cells. That means they are male gametes. They are always haploid, right? That means they have N chromosome. Front of the cell is oval shaped, pointy head or pointy head, and they contain nucleus. So the sperm cells head part is of oval shape and contains nucleus. This nucleus contains half the number of chromosomes to combine with egg. That means this nucleus of sperm cell will have haploid chromosomes or N chromosomes, and egg cell will also have N chromosomes, and this both will bind together to form 2N cells. And they have tail to swim to the egg. So male sperm cells look like this. These are the different parts of male sperm cells. This is the acrosome, the topmost part of the sperm cell, which helps in the penetration in egg cell. This is the nucleus. This is the centriole, mitochondria, which provides the ATP or energy to our sperm cell, and this is actual filament or tail. So this is how male sperm cells looks. Then there is egg cell. So they are female sex cell, they are female gametes, right? We can say that. They are also haploid cells, or they also contains N chromosomes. They are longer or larger than sperm cells, and they are spherical. They contain large amount of cytoplasm. and we can say that they have thin walls so that sperm can penetrate, right? We just saw that the acrosome of the sperm helps in the penetration. And the nucleus have half number of the chromosomes so that it can combine with the sperm. They have n chromosomes, and egg cell will also have n chromosomes. So to form the zygote, they will combine and they will form the zygote, which will have 2n composition, right? So this is how egg cells are made. And egg cells look like this. There are many different parts of egg cells. So this is corona radiata. These are follicle cells. This is the cytoplasm of the cell. This is the nucleus of the cell. This is the plasma membrane, and this is zona pellucida. So this is the figure of how female egg cell looks in humans, right? So now let's see what are the possible questions which can be asked from this particular thing. So first, when do cells become specialized? So after growth and development, they become specialized, right? We know it. The next question is that characteristics of specialized cells. So they have special function, they have special shape, right? Then we have to tell what is the function of ciliated cells, root hair cells, xylem, palisade mesophilic cells, nerve cells, red blood cells, sperm and egg cell. So ciliated cells helps in the mucus movement, root hair cell helps in the absorption, xylem helps in water transport, palisade mesophilic cells helps in the photosynthesis process, nerve cells helps in the transmission of neurons or signals, nerve signals, red blood cells, oxygen transport, right? And sperm and egg cells are gametes, right? So these are the functions of these type of specialized cells. I hope I made you understand these things in a better way. Thank you so much for watching this video, and for more videos like this you can visit WASSCE.com. Till we meet again, take care, stay safe, bye bye.